Get on the floor. It's just like, wow, making. So actually she was, okay, I guess that's working. She was 89. So, yeah. So.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. How y'all doing today? Good to see everybody's smiley faces. Wanted to start this morning. Come together. If we can sing it together. Come together, heart and soul, as we love together. Young and old, we will sing together. Together we one song. Come together, come together. From different worlds we are drawn together. In our own way we can pray together. Together we are strong. I see God in you. I see God in you. You see God in me. One path, one vision, one family. Come together. Come together. Dreams and hands we will join together. Build a place we can grow together. Together we are home. I see God in you. I see God in you. You see God in me. One path, one vision, one family.
Thank you. Welcome. We welcome all of you this morning to Unity Spiritual Center of Portland as we gather with the realization that we get to choose home. We get to choose a ground of being, this God of our understanding, whatever we choose to call this essence. You can call it the absolute, you can call it infinite intelligence, you can call it whatever you want, but the truth is there is a presence and a power, one presence, one power that supports all of us. I'm Reverend Lisa Davis, and I'm part of this spiritual center here at Unity Spiritual Center of Portland, and we get to gather and know these ideas and allow them to move through us. You know, Maya Angelou said, "I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it." I can be changed by what happens to me, but I refuse to be reduced by it. And if we have thought that something in our lives has reduced the essence of who we are, right now is the opportunity to say, no, I can begin again. I can choose something differently because I know that as I allow myself to have a direct encounter with what is in front of me, it will transform me. And it will lift me, and it will create something so much more. So we're going to begin this service in prayer, and I just want to invite you to open your heart to that which you think might have reduced you, might have made you less than who you are, or you might have had to have a barrier out there. And just simply open your heart, yourself, to that presence and power. Let's begin this service in prayer. Oh, yes. Father, Mother, God, infinite Spirit, we open to an awareness, a willingness to be able to see something more, to see the life, to see the presence, to see the movement of Spirit, this evolutionary impulse that guides each of us, that reminds each of us when we listen that we are whole, that we are enough, that that which is in our world is there to transform us. We say yes to the journey. We say yes to right where we are, knowing that it is holy ground, and it will heal us, lift us, love us, move us. And we allow that love that we are to encircle this globe everywhere. In the shootings, in the wars, in the places where we see someone else as the problem, we recognize we are all interconnected, and there is a rising that is happening within us individually and collectively. We stand in this knowing, we open to this knowing, and we say, here I am, infinite spirit, move through me. And so it is. Amen. And so we are thrilled to have you with us. Beth is coming in to share some of what's going on.
Good morning. Ooh, as always, I first want to acknowledge our prayer chaplains who are here this morning to serve you. Kate and Sherry. Yep, there they. Okay, I'm just making sure I got everybody. Okay. So they are here this morning to pray with you following the service, if that is something that you need. If you're not ready to pray with...
Can you go in and ask Leah?
What? Okay, here we go. One more time. If you're not ready to pray in person with somebody, there are prayer requests in the backs of your chairs, and you can pull those out and fill them out. And somebody will either call you or just hold you in prayer for the next 30 days. They then send those prayer requests onto Silent Unity, where they will be held for another 30 days. So they are here for you to support you in whatever you're going through. If you have a challenge, you need a little midweek lift, we have a dial-a-prayer number you can call and get an inspiring message during the week that'll hold you over till Sunday. So we have little cards out on the lobby table. We invite you to pick one of those up and take them home and put them next to your phone. So I want to say Name Tag Sunday was a huge success. Man, I went out there Monday morning and I saw all those name tags, and it just filled me with so much excitement because we are growing as a community, and it's wonderful to see that. And as always, I want to thank Drew Rain, because she is our creator-in-chief here, who finds all kinds of ways. Yeah, she's always finding ways to bring us together as a community, and I'm so grateful for that. Thank you so much. And I'm speaking of our community growing, especially on Sundays like today when we're welcoming new members. It just warms my heart to add people to our growing family. It's really evidenced by the growing of our support ministries. And if you came here in search of community, service within the community is the place to start. And you know, I invite you all to serve. I know many of you came for healing, but I want you to know, I know many of you came to heal also, and you have those gifts. And you can do that by a myriad of ways. Sunday mornings, we still need some help. I get the idea. A lot of you aren't thrilled with the Sign-Up Genius because nobody's really using it a whole lot. And it reduces our stress so much to know if people are going to be showing up on Sunday mornings. So I'm going to be out at the desk today to answer any of your questions about Sign-Up Genius, whether you're using it or not using it. We'll talk about it. We'll get you signed up. We'll make it work. But we need your involvement. We appreciate it. We're so grateful for those of you who do step up, especially on Sundays when nobody's signed up and people just step up and serve. It's a wonderful thing, and we're very appreciative for that. I want to mention the Mardi Gras event tickets on sale again today following the service. Colleen's going to be out there at the ticket table following the service to sell you that ticket. That $25 fundraising ticket gets you a full course meal, jambalaya, gumbo. We've got banana Foster hand pies. We've got red beans and rice. We've got salad. It's just going to be king cake. We've got it all. Come, have a wonderful time. We're going to do some mask making. You can come in costume, because that's always fun. We know this group. Y'all like to dress up. So now's your chance to come and do that. So anyway, yeah, it's going to be a great time. Friday, February the 17th. Come on down. We're going to have a great time, and get your tickets today. I want to mention, following the service today, Barbara Selvaggi, our youth ed and family ministry coordinator. She's going to be meeting with folks in the chapel who are interested in serving our young people. I know you've noticed on Sunday mornings, more and more are coming in at the end of the service. And so we need the support of some new teachers, some new people to help learn with those young people. So if you're interested, if that piques your interest, make sure you stop by the chapel today following the service. Also, the YOU is starting to collect books and all types of media for their annual spring book sale, which begins the first Sunday in March, and it will go through the first Sunday, or through all the Sundays in March downstairs. So we're collecting books every week throughout the month of February. So make sure you call those bookshelves at home and see what you can donate and make a difference for our youth. In 2 weeks, on Sunday, February the 19th, we are doing another practice bingo. And we're gonna work with real cash. They're gonna sell cards for $1. Our volunteers who are learning to put this on they need practice. So you are the guinea pigs. You are the ones who get to come down and they get to practice with. But it should be a lot of fun. We had a blast doing it the last time. So we really hope that you'll come and join us. That's in 2 weeks. And then the last Sunday in February, we're gonna teach you how to create a legacy with all that bingo money that you've won. Jim Toscano is he is the person who is helping us here with our Legacy Endowment Fund. He's offering his wisdom and guidance. I feel like he's like the uncle at Thanksgiving who gives you those little tidbits of knowledge that you need to help get your finances straight. But anyway, he's great at talking in a real non-technical way. He's going to answer any questions that you have and inquiries about setting up a trust or a will, which we all need. So it's an hour-long discussion. Come and join him. That's the last Sunday in February, Creating Your Legacy. And I want to mention real quick, because I took the picture for the bookstore newsletter this week. They've got some really fun Valentine's stuff in there. So if you're looking for a little special something to get somebody, that's the place to hit today following the service. I want to also invite you, if you're not getting the newsletter, that's where all of this wonderful information is. There's neon cards in the backs of the chairs. And if you just update your email address or give us your correct email address, we'll get you on the mailing list. And if this is your first time here at Unity Spiritual Center of Portland, we welcome you. We're glad you're with us. Maybe you've been gone for a long time and you've just come back. We're glad you're here. But we need your updated information or your new information. So we invite you to fill out one of these cards. If you're at home in our virtual family watching from home, there's a QR code. You can snap a picture of that. You could snap a picture of this and enter your information, whichever way you want to do it, just so that we get it and get you on our mailing list. There's a lot of goodies in this welcome packet. And I think our ushers, is somebody coming forward with welcome packets? Is anybody here for the first time today? Is this your first time? We have one person. Oh, here she comes. Sorry. Maureen's pulling double duty today. We had somebody who didn't show up. Come on, Maureen. There she is. All right, raise your hand so we know where you are. There's one lady, couple ladies right here. If you didn't get a packet, we want to welcome you. There's a rose sticker on the front. We'd love you to peel that off and stick it to your clothing. So we give you a nice warm welcome following the service. We invite you downstairs to Coffee and Connection. That way we can get to know you a little better. We're glad you're here and we hope you'll return. Have a wonderful week. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you, Beth. Thank you, thank you. And I just want to take a moment. If you're here for the first time, we want you to know that we're so happy that you're in this space and a part of this community, or you're online and still part of this community in this virtual family, because we recognize that consciousness is everywhere present, and we are all a part of that. So we love having you here. I believe right now, and we believe that it's so important to find a place to anchor. We live in these changing times that are asking us to grow and to evolve and to move, and finding a place that can both see us and we can be a part of is very important. So if this community works for you, I would encourage you to become a part, to say, I'm here, I'm anchored, I'm ready to grow and to evolve and to move. And if it does not work for you, I would encourage you to find a place that does, find a place that will serve you and support your growth, your spiritual growth through these this movement of spirit is what I call it, a movement of spirit. All right, we're so grateful for that. In just a moment, we're going to stand and sing, but I wanted to give a little report of where I was last week. I was in New York, and everyone said, did you have a wonderful time? Leah has a couple of slides of one of the reason I went. My daughter and I went. It was a wonderful opportunity. For her, we went to see Broadway shows. For me, I went to see, I don't know if you can recognize Reverend Amos Kalu. He was here, gosh, it's been years, but I went to see Senior Dr. Reverend Amos Kalu. He was visiting from Nigeria. He was visiting his family. And I also saw his wife, Reverend Naomi Kalu, which she was also there. And it was just a wonderful opportunity and that's my daughter, Lauren. I'm sure she loves being up here. But I just wanted to share just a tiny bit. We have a ministry that's called Building Bridges. And many times you hear me say these words of, this year we sent 55 middle school age girls to school in Nigeria. Reverend Amos was actually the reason all of this started. And I want to say, sometimes we have these opportunities in time that just transform us. And I'm teary and I apologize, but in 1996, I was just ordained as a minister. I was saying, Spirit, show me what I can do to make a difference in the world and the unity movement in the world. And that first Sunday, someone showed up from Nigeria in my church in Dayton, Ohio. And she said, there's this man that can't get this book. Now, this is a metaphysical Bible dictionary. I don't know what it costs. Alice, I'm sure, could tell us. It's probably about $25 now. But it's $44 now. It was about $20 then. And they've been working for 5 years to get it. They've been saving to get it for 5 years, and they haven't been able to because they also can't afford the shipping. Now, I had 5 of these at my house. You go through ministerial school, you end up with a lot of them. These are it is the Aramaic, what it means in Aramaic, words from the Bible, cities from the Bibles, names from the Bible, and what the metaphysical meaning is. And so that was what we started out with, and I said, that's ridiculous. Anybody can get that. And I realized that was my first experience not my first experience. That was my first understanding of privilege and what it meant to be able to just say, I'd like 4 more of those. I'd like this. And so we started a ministry and we called it Building Bridges to get books to Nigeria. Reverend Amos was the one who he now for 50 years has kept daily word in Nigeria, and he's kept Silent Unity in Nigeria, so a prayer ministry. And I just want us to realize, first of all, I went with tithe money from our church to help him eat next year, because that's still where he is in Nigeria. He came to his daughters in order to stay for 3 months and to get warm, and although they did not like New York's weather, I will say, they were still in shock over that, but it was just the most beautiful experience to be able to realize that Unity of Portland, we're a part of that, and it comes from the tithe money that we give. And I just want to say thank you to all of you, because we're able to touch lives in ways that he continues to mentor the other ministers coming through, and the teens and all of those that desire to see themselves more as just less than whole. So I will stop that. But I just wanted us to see what that is, and just to hold these beings in our lives. And for me, I didn't know if I'd see him again, just because of his age and where he is. And so I just got to hold him. That was my joy. I just simply got to sit on a couch and hold hands, and I did my interview that I was supposed to get the information for Unity Worldwide Ministries and all of that, but basically I just held on to part of humanity. And so in just a moment we're going to sing, but what the pandemic has shown us is that we don't reach out as much, but I believe what the world is asking us to do is to say, here I am. Let me connect with each other. Let me remember we're all a part of this myriad of life and how we can touch it in different ways. So we're going to stand and sing.
What a perfect song for that.
Our loving will change the world.
Here we go. Love, love, love everybody. Love, love, love.
When it's hard to love, our loving will change the world.
Love, love.
When it's hard to love, our loving will change the world.
All right, here we go. Share.
And I just invite you to turn to those around you and just say namaste. It's good to meet you. It's good to have you here. Welcome. By the way, all right. This Sunday is a very different Sunday. I'm beginning to think all of them are. I don't know what else to say. I think we have things shifting and moving so much that it moves us also. But one of the great, great honors that we have this morning, and we usually do it twice a year. This year we're doing it 3 times simply because of the numbers. But we're going to do a new member service. We're welcoming people into this community. And in just a minute, I'm going to call them up. But I want you to know, for me, it's such a great honor to serve in this capacity, to be able to be a part of people's lives. I believe the most important thing that we are here to do and experience is transformation. Taking old concepts and ideas that we live with, that we think are solid and held there, and realize that actually they're movable. And we're a part just not of moving ours, but of moving humanity's ideas in this ground. And I believe that as we receive people into this community, every one of us has a part. On Sundays when we sing our kids in, we recognize we're a part of their journey. We're a part of how we see them, how we hold them. And it's the same with people and humanity. And so as we begin to hold people in our hearts and to recognize who they are, they teach us. And so here at Unity Spiritual Center of Portland, we come together to support each other on a spiritual journey. You might fight and say, nope, this is a human journey, but the truth is we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and right now it may feel like we're being pulled face down on the carpet, but the truth is we are spiritual beings. There is a human experience, and we're here together. We're interconnected, we're entwined, and we're a part of that wholeness. And so I believe for you all that you're doing much more than joining a church. This isn't a building, it's a consciousness. It's a place where we both say, yes, I'm here to grow. And that growth is not always fun. I don't know if you all have realized that. And I'm here to probably be squeezed or to squeeze somebody else and then to be a part of moving through it. And I believe making an inner commitment to follow a spiritual journey. Really, membership here, to me, is an inner commitment, because what I found years after I grew up in Unity and finally joined a Unity church was that the universe commits to me at the level that I commit to it. And when I made the commitment, I'm a part. I found a part of myself that I didn't know I had. I found a depth. Of course, I didn't plan on ending up here. That was the only thing that was not on the table. And life moves us. But so as a spiritual community, I believe that we are all agreeing to support another spiritual journey. We can say, oh, it's safe to come on Sundays and I just pop in and pop out. But the truth is, when we really go into community, it goes deeper. It means going through and walking with and beginning to find more of ourselves and more in others. And so Unity, as a part of the New Thought movement, knows that there are many paths to God, and we honor all of them. And we also walk that journey of finding a larger picture. Unity means oneness, and we recognize oneness of all creation with its creator, whatever that is to you. And so I'm going to invite our new members up. There are, I believe all 12 are here today, and so I just want to welcome all of you up here. They're going to come up to the stage and join us, and we have Finn and Dick, I believe everybody, and we have Elizabeth and Dixie and Lisa and Bethany and Kason and April and Joyce. Joyce is not here, is she? Okay, and Annie and Mark and Jordan and Finn and Loretta. And I want you all to, as we look at them, part of what we get to do is to know them as the infinite presence and power of Spirit. And what I know for each of you, and when I was young, this was actually called a spiritual baptism. Unity doesn't practice baptism in water. In fact, I didn't actually know what it was till I was in college. And I said, they dunk people in water? Why? And that was just because I had just grown up hearing every one of us is a creation of the infinite, and that we're whole and complete, and nobody can add something to you. Instead, we're acknowledging the wholeness. And my mother said, but you've been through baptisms. And I said, I have. And she said, every time we behold the light in another, that person has the ability to hold it in themselves. And the desire and design of that baptism is to hold an idea of wholeness. And so we're going to sing to you. And I would invite you to take this in. We're going to sing You Are the Face of God. And if you don't know the words, they're on the screen. And we're going to know that wholeness that you are. And I know it's probably the most painful part of becoming a member. But I just invite you to know that wholeness for yourself and to know that we support you in it.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. Here we go. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
And I just invite every one of you to know that we know who you are. I can see it. It brings tears to my eyes. And I just invite you to know you are that light. You are that love. You are welcome here. And you are here to be a part of a movement of Spirit as we step out into this. You are the face of God.
You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
And if you haven't taken it into your heart as we sing this one more time, I'd invite you to allow it into your hearts also.
Here we go. You are the face of God. Ooh, I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God. You are the face of God. I hold you in my heart. You are a part of me. You are the face of God.
Thank you. We love you all. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You know, At one point, someone said, why don't you cut that out? There's too much crying that goes on during. And I said, maybe we need to cry a little. Maybe we need to feel what's happening, because the presence and the power of the infinite isn't meant to be known, it's meant to be felt. And as we move into this time of meditation, just a little time, it's an invitation for us to anchor our lives with it. And we're so happy to see that light in each of you. And it's a beginning spark to remind us to know it in ourselves. And so as we listen to this music, I just invite you to know that light, and we'll move through with it.
This is life. This is home. This is love. And this is God. This is life. This is hope. This is love. This is God.
As we relax our bodies, as we quiet our minds and turn within, this is life, this is love, this is presence, this is I am. We recognize that the core of who we are is part of the quantum field of this universe. It's infinite. It's vibrant. And we simply rest in that knowing. I am that I am is within me, around me, everywhere present this day, in the silence, in the silence. If I have not fully accepted that I am the face of God, I allow that thought to be breathed in through me. I am, you are, we are. This idea permeates my cells, the tissues of my body, all of me, my heart, my mind. I am, you are, we are the face of God. And this is life. This is love. This is the movement of spirit. And so it is. Amen.
This is life. This is hope. This is love. And this is God. This is life. This is hope. This is love. and I am life. I am whole. I am love. Yes, and I am God. Have a treat for you today.
Imagining you're far away, just searching for the words to say. I feel it when you fall apart. Our lives are our greatest art. I don't wanna change your mind, 'cause I accept you for everything you are and will be. Stay here with me now. The only thing that our hearts are made of are the acts of forgiveness and love. The only thing real when push comes to shove are the acts of forgiveness and love. 'Cause in the end, no one loses or wins. The story begins again and again with forgiveness and love. You don't ever have to read my mind. You can see it when you close your eyes. Don't believe it when you lose your faith. Another moment's a moment away. I can't tell you what the future holds or how to live. All I know is what feels right lights up my life again and again. The only thing that our hearts are made of are the acts of forgiveness and love. The only thing real when push comes to shove are the acts of forgiveness and love. 'Cause in the end, no one loses or wins. The story begins again and again with forgiveness and love. Let's jump the sun, let's find forever. Where does the time go? Just live your life, you'll find another today, today, today. 'Cause in the end, no one loses or wins. The story begins again and again with forgiveness and love. Let's jump the sun, let's find forever. Where does the time go? Just live your life, you'll get another today, today, today with forgiveness and love.
Thank you, thank you. Thanks to all of our music team. We have our chaplains here. We have so many here. And we're going to talk, the title that was sent out was This Love is Forgiveness. And I hope we will get there. But I just need you to know right now, we're not going to. And I, you know, it's been 16 years, I think next Sunday, since I started here. And one of the things I said, I was actually still in deep grief. My husband had passed away, I had 2 young children, and I was clear I was retired from ministry permanently, and I was not doing that anymore. And when I was interviewed, one of the things I said was, okay, but if I take this job, you're gonna get crying, you're going to get my process, and sometimes you're not going to like it. And you may not like what I say today, but we're going to switch over to systems theory. Some things happen. I have a wonderful message. I promise I'll do it next week. The idea, I right now have a 36-page message. The other 18 pages is what I wrote before I went to New York. And then things happened in this country and happened where we are. And if we can't bring it in here, and if it can't be a safe space, where do we go to talk about what's happening in our world? Where do we go? So I want to talk a little bit about the systems we live in, because I think it's important. First of all, Thomas Merton said, "The spark, which is my true self, is the flash of the absolute, recognizing itself in me." So we get to start by knowing that that spark is within everyone. The spark of the absolute is within us, and it's the universe recognizing itself. It's a quantum field that we live and move and have our being within, recognizing itself in us. But we live in systems. We live in places that can be tough to navigate through. Anybody have anything going on in their life right now? Anybody? Okay, we've got three. Okay, we've got three. Anybody think there's anything going on in this country? Okay. I think all of our hands went up. We're being asked to shift systems that we live and move and have our being within. And it's fascinating. Many of you in here have been through some form of AA or Al-Anon, or you've grown up in a dysfunctional family or maybe your grandparents went through addiction. And you know, as you study it more and more, that in addiction, everybody is a part of that addictive process and family and culture. It takes everybody in a system to uphold a system. So when my dad, that was one of the things that he went through. He was an Air Force pilot. He served in 3 wars. And when my mother went to ministerial school, one of the ministers grabbed him and said, "We're going to AA." Now, I never saw him drunk, but he was an alcoholic. And I got to watch his process as he healed. What's fascinating is, in a system like that, it's easy to say, that's the problem. But as my mom joined on to Al-Anon, she said, "Oh, dear Lord, I'm a part of the problem." And of course, she grew up in an alcoholic family. And so she brought that system with her. And then she talked to all of us, and she's like, "You're all apart." And we're like, "We don't have anything to do with this. That's you two. You got to heal this." But the truth is, all 4 of us have learned we were a part of the system. And we've had to find out where we were, because systems can't be held up unless everybody plays their part. So we can't actually heal from the families we were raised in or the system we're in if we don't find a way to heal with who we are and to find our part in the system. And so this last few days, I want to say, I went to New York. I was not hearing much of the news or anything else, but I did know that there was going to be a video released of Tyre Nichols. And I want to talk about it, and I want us to, first of all, I want to say his name, because that name is important. Tyre Nichols. He's a part of the journey we're all on. He's a part of the system that's there, that we all hold in place, and that's tough. That's tough to be aware of, but I want us to look at some of these pieces. I couldn't do much there, so I just took it in my heart, and I thought, when I get home, I'll figure out what this is and where it is and what I need to do within it. And so Thursday morning, I got up and I watched the videos, and that was a tough one for me. I'm not saying anybody else needs to, but what I've found for me in my journey as a white woman is that one of the ways I've upheld the system is by not seeing, by blessing and not seeing. And so for me, and this is only for me, there are people in here who have no business watching. No, I don't need to say that. Who don't need to. And I would invite you. I hope all of you know who are here. In Unity, we don't ask you to believe what I say. We don't ask you to believe these principles. Everybody gets to decide what they believe. We do not have dogma that you must believe. There's ideas, and we can decide where we are within it. But what I know for me, as I learned to find that way out, and I found my way gradually when I lived in Ohio. At 22, I moved to Ohio. I did not know what living in the Midwest meant. I had grown up in a Unity family in California and Florida, and it was a very broad part of Florida. I did not go out into the other parts. And I moved there, and suddenly I'm like, whoa. And I moved into a family that had been raised in this and lived in this for generations. And I married someone who had lived in this. And the answers, I was 22, and I just moved into this soup of answers of why there's racism and what it means to be black and white and this and this. I just moved into it. And I thought, well, okay, that must be who I am. I must be somewhere in there. And I just kind of worked to live with it, and it just seeped in gradually. And then as I got older, and it took years, I started saying, I don't actually believe this. What is this? What am I hearing? What's being told to me? And as I started sorting through, what's fascinating is if we will see a larger picture in our lives anywhere, the universe will support us in the next step we are to take. Let there be light. That's the first step of creation. If I want to create anything new in my world, it starts with let there be awareness. That word actually more likely means awareness than light. Let there be light. Let there be awareness. Let there be a bigger idea and story and picture. Let there be something more. And when we find that, then we find, oh my goodness, there is something more. And gradually, as I continued to grow out of it and found ways to say, this is not me, this is not me, this is not a belief, this is not what this is, then of course I found myself over here. And I found myself in a community at Unity of Dayton where it was half Republican and half Democrat. And that's the only way, and I didn't actually know what a lot of that meant at one point. And so I had to find my way. Pretty soon I ministered there, and I was like, what does this mean? And it's not about who you are. It's about ways of seeing. And I was living in a family where everyone I knew had a view that was different than mine. And so I had to start building that view. And gradually, when I moved here, after my husband passed away and I had 2 young daughters, I had to get out of that culture that I was within, because boy, was I a needle in people's legs and arms and thoughts and a lot of different things. And I was controversial, and I probably would be fired for giving this message there. But that's not where we are. But I moved to Oregon thinking, wow, I'm in the midst of a huge open consciousness. And I found out it's hidden. And it took years. It took a few years. It's like, that's not possible. I remember my sister saying, you're not going to like it here. There's no diversity. You are not going to like it, Lisa. And I said, well, I'm coming anyway. So we're going to find out. And, so instead, we get to figure out who are we, because we live within a system. And if we want to find something larger, then we have to find a different way of seeing ourselves, and we have to have the courage to look. And one of the things I know is if I think they're the problem and we just get rid of them, it will be solved, then I have missed the boat, because that's a system talking. That's a system. So instead of saying it's them, I have to figure out where my pieces are. I think Jesus says something like that log in your eye, take it out before you go see somebody else's log. That little idea there, that's what we're talking about. James Baldwin, in one of his books, and I got this from David Alexander, and I talked to him. I said, can I please use some of this? He goes, go ahead. But he said, not everything is lost. Responsibility cannot be lost. It can only be abdicated. And when one refuses abdication, one begins again. Every time we refuse to say, that's more than I can handle, when we say, no, I'm not doing that anymore, and we do not abdicate our ability to say, I have responsibility, I have the ability to respond in this situation, we find something more. We begin again. And so as we go through life, if we want to change a system, we have to have an encounter with that which is who we are and our part in it. And we have to figure it out. And when I first started studying white privilege and acknowledging it, and boy, my kids, they're so tired of hearing that's white privilege. We're walking through New York, and I'm like, boy, this is privilege, this is privilege, this is privilege. And my daughter's like, okay, I got it. We got it here. Can we just enjoy the show, or can we just do this? But it was important for me to be able to see it and to know it and to claim it. And now I have to go beyond that. I have to say, what does it mean here? What does it mean here? Because the systems that, what allows us to hold in the anti-LGBTQ movement, what allows us to hold in any type of the racism that's there, that this isn't right and this isn't right, we all are a part of it. And so, in creative stress, the class we're working with and the book we're working with, the first thing you have to do is have a direct encounter. We have to see what is stress in our lives. We have to see what it is, and then you got to have a handshake with it. Then you got to go deeper into it. We have to be present to what's there. And when we do, we find something so much more. Ken Wilber said this in his book of reflections. He said, "And therefore, all of us whom authentic transformation has deeply unseated the soul, I believe, must wrestle with the profound moral obligation to shout from the heart, perhaps quietly and gently, with tears of reluctance, perhaps with a fierce and angry wisdom, perhaps with a slow and careful analysis, perhaps by unshakable public example, but authentically always. And absolutely, it carries a demand and a duty that you must speak out to the best of your ability and shake the spiritual tree and shine your headlight into the eyes of complacency." Somewhere in there, we have to find a deeper story for ourselves. So when I say, oh, my part was not seeing, and my part was saying, they're the problem. I get to stop saying they're the problem, because that system asks us to do that. You might be in a relationship where they're the problem. You might be in that with your family. You might be in that with a political party or a country. We might be in it wherever we are. But to stop and to say, who am I within this system? We get to know the truth of ourselves. I believe that the system that's being held up is one that says we're not enough. And we think it shows up as racism. There is systemic racism. I have no qualms about it. There is systemic, just literally putting down of people and things, but it's all woven within this idea of we're not enough, and that we're not connected and we're not together. And so how do we hold this space? When we do, we find something more. And with Tyree Nichols, and I've just been holding that presence and thanking that soul for being who he is, a 29-year-old father, skateboarder. He had moved back to a different part of the country, which is his home, but he was in California before, and then he moves back, and it's like, what's happening here in Memphis? And we can think, well, it's just in the South. But if we haven't seen it, then it's not. And of course, we know it's not. One of the first things I did that has never left my mind was I moved here, and we had a huge snowstorm. And I was told that it's different on different sides of the railroad tracks. And they had cleaned up. We finally dug out I'm in Milwaukee. We had dug out from Milwaukee. And I drove into North Portland. Those streets hadn't been plowed. Those streets, they couldn't get out at all. There were people walking through piles of stuff. And I thought, whoa, what was that? There's systems that we just live within. And so how do we become a part of the change? First of all, on some level, we have to find who we are within that. I know every one of us is a creation of spirit, a creation of love, a creation of life, a creation of the God of your understanding. And we have within us the part we are to play within moving that out. But if we get caught up in a battle over they're wrong or they did that, because what my ego does, let me just put it in a me. What my ego does usually is attack or run. Sometimes it prays and hopes it can get through it, but the truth is, I got to let it in. I got to listen. I got to be a part. Now you say, oh, but there were 5 black police officers. This doesn't count. I heard that. It's like, no, it has nothing to do with that. We all are a part of the system. And we learn to play our part. You learn to play your part in a family. You learn to play your part within whatever major thing we had. But we can start saying, that's not me. I'm within a system. We have to start before we see the system. I believe the first steps we take are just beginning to say, I'm enough. I'm enough. And I have enough courage to be willing to see my part in the system, whatever it is. I'm willing to learn it. And then we get to support ourselves as it comes up, because it does. It will. Life is going to teach us what we're to learn, no matter how much we say it's not there, that it's somebody else. You know, the idea of forgiveness, and I am going to mention on this, and we'll go through it next week, but the idea of forgiveness, Jesus brought in a radical idea. He said, and man can forgive sins. Now, I didn't grow up with the word sin. I was not, I can't tell you I ever heard that word until high school. I was like, what's that? And they're like, what do you mean, what's that? You're going to hell. And I'm like, what do you mean I'm going to hell? You know, hell's a state of consciousness. I knew that. I was very clear. I'm like, you know, I've been there, no big deal. I can get out. Because I grew up with the idea that hell is a state of consciousness separate from God, and heaven is a state of consciousness at one with the infinite. I don't know about you all, but I felt in heaven when we were singing to our new members. That's because we were one with a state of consciousness that believes we are more than the little bodies and the people and the things that we've said we are. And so the idea of humankind has the ability to forgive. By the way, sin means missing the mark. It's an archery term. If we could just take it back to an archery term, that's all. In fact, I remember in YOU, they got a little dartboard, and they said, so throw the dart. And of course, some of us didn't even hit the dartboard. Well, I was one of them. But it was literally, they're like, oh, that's a sin. And, you know, and I'm like, what? And I was graduated by that time from that group, and I was back in just listening to what was going on. And they said, that's the word, that's the meaning. And what do? Pull it out of the wall, pull it out of the board, and try again. That's all it meant. But humankind, that was an ability to respond differently when something was wrong. The only idea in that whole part of the world up until then was punishment. That was being expressed. And so Jesus came in with an idea of, wait a minute, we can all do this. And it doesn't have to be punishment. It doesn't have to be competition, me versus them. So if we get out of the competition, and if we begin realizing the people I thought were wrong were my teachers, and we open up to a larger idea and take responsibility, my ability to respond, we can recognize that we are love, that we are wholeness, and the beautiful beings like Tyree Nichols come to teach us, and to have the courage to look it in the face and say, wisdom teacher, teach me. We will find that we're all connected, we're all love, and we're all one. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So we are going to receive our tithes and our love offerings, this opportunity to be just grateful and to give from our hearts. We have ushers that will come forward and will be a part of that. Many of you are online. If you don't know how to give here, there's a blue card in the backs of your seat pockets that will share some of the ways you can give, both electronically and with checks or other items. You can go onto our website. There's so many different ways, but a lot of this is just breathing in the realization there's a bigger idea that is insisting on being born in humanity right now. It is not going to let us out of its grip. And it's spirit and it's love. And the blessing that we use is divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and that together. Divine love as me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is.
We have fallen down again tonight. What it needs is love, love, love. Everybody wants to love. Everybody wants to be loved. Oh, 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 oh. Happy is the heart that still feels pain. Darkness drains and light will come again. Swing open your chest and let it in. Just let the love, love, love begin. Everybody wants to love. Everybody wants to be loved. Oh, 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 oh. Everybody wants to love. Everybody wants to be loved. Oh, 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 oh. Everybody knows the love. Everybody holds the love. Everybody steals the love. Everybody heals with love. Oh, oh. Just everybody wants to be loved. Oh, oh, loved. Oh, oh. Just let the love, 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 love. Everybody feels the love. Everybody steals the love. Everybody heals with love. Oh, everybody. Oh, everybody. Oh, everybody. Oh, everybody. Oh, everybody. Oh, everybody. Just let the love, love, love begin.
In just a minute, we're going to sing our youth in. And this is when we get to be active participants in who they are. You know, we have the ability to see in another what they may or may not be able to hold in themselves. And so as we sing our youth in, I just invite you to allow the love to be present in your heart and allow it to flow from your heart and to create an energy field of love in which our kids walk, because they are the light, they are the love, and we are here to see the wholeness for them, with them, and as them now.
You are the star of the morning. You are heaven smiling at us. You're God's gift of tomorrow. Oh, how we love you. Are heaven smiling at us. You're God's gift of tomorrow.
Oh, how we love you. Oh, how we love you.
Oh. Well, I must be more powerful than I thought. That wasn't my intent. So I just wanted to remind all of you lovely people that we have a gathering, a youth ministry gathering downstairs for parents and for future leaders. I'm not going to call you teachers, I'm going to call you leaders to work with the children. I'll be in the teen room and I have some information, and please bring your questions. And I'm excited to grow our youth ministry. And then we...
So we also have the YOU book sale that's coming up, and it's going to be the first Sunday in March. We have some of the teens have been selected as counselors for the kids camp, so that's also very exciting. And so lots of activities. Thank you very much for your support. Please remember to bring your books downstairs, pile them by the bulletin board, and then they'll put them all out, and you'll be able to buy them back.
And one thing, that wonderful couple back over there, raise your hands, come out in front. They have a blessed event happening in a month. very soon. And we have another one in the pot over there that's waiting. So I'm very excited. That's how you grow. You start with our babies and love them, and you bring them, and we grow up, and we grow up, and we grow up as old as me.
Youth and Family Ministry in YOU. They met in YOU. So as teens, they met from different churches. They came to some of the camps and things. And we just want to thank you for the love you have given our youth for years, and the openness and the caring and the holding and the vision that you hold for them.
And they promised me they wouldn't go.
Sometimes, like, I know, thank you. And I know how important that was as having one of the youth that went through there, but sometimes even during the pandemic, it was hard to hold a picture that people said, oh, it'll never be back. Well, the truth is we grow it. We grow it in our hearts. We grow it in our souls. So Kids Camp will be happening this year. In 2 weeks, they are having a teen camp there, and they expect 200 teenagers, 200 YOUers. Now, their YOUers is a larger age. We are a part of sponsoring just a small part of that, but we're so blessed to be a part of a movement of telling 200 youth, you are a creation of God. You have come to do mighty things instead of what they were raised with. It's a powerful idea everywhere. So thank you all. We are so blessed. Thank you all. All right, we're going to stand and sing Let There Be Peace on Earth, and let it begin with me.
Here we go. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as with each other, in perfect harmony. Every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with
Out after the prayer so that they can get safely back to their classrooms. But we are going to say just simply, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you, God.